Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 20 video, and in today's episode we're obviously going to be rebuilding the Tennessee Titans, who did eliminate the Ravens in the playoffs. Very, very sad face for me, very sad day for me indeed, but they have their halfback, Derrick Henry. What a monster, I have to say about that. For some reason they paid Ryan Tannehill like a bunch of money to hand off the ball to Derrick Henry. I don't know why they would ever do that, because Derrick Henry is kind of most of their offense along with A.J. Brown, but apart from that, it is time to look into the team. Here we are with the overlook of the team, as there is Ryan Tannehill, who I just talked about. We're going to be looking to trade him, obviously. Not the best, not the worst, but he is 31 years old. And Derrick Henry here, the star of this video. I think that's Corey Davis and A.J. Brown and Adam Humphries, I believe it is as well. Jonnu Smith, he's only 24 years old, so we'll keep him around. The O-line left side is pretty good, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to trade them because most of them take up a lot of cap. Defensively, linebacking core is solid, and defensive, I think secondary is pretty good as well. Kenny Vaccaro is here as well, a little bit old, so I'm probably going to be looking to trade him. Kevin Byard, very underrated free safety. Adoree Jackson, Malcolm Butler. I don't care what anyone says. Adoree Jackson should be at least superstar development, so he's going to be that. I don't know why, but this roster I downloaded changes a bunch of overalls and developments, but Adoree Jackson should definitely be superstar development, so he's going to be there. He should be at like an 88 or an 89 overall, but I'm not even going to bother to change that. So I guess it is what it is. So apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the trades. Here we are with the first trade, as we are trading our punter, our left tackle, and Ben Jones for a first, a second, and a next year's first from the Kansas City Chiefs. And next we have our left guard, our cornerback Malcolm Butler, and a third for a first and a next year's first from the Dallas Cowboys. And next we have our linebacker and a second for a first and a next year's first from the Atlanta Falcons. And finally, I think it is Vic Beasley Jr., Ryan Tannehill, and Kenny Vaccaro for a first this year and a first next year from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I lied. We apparently have one more. We have Adam Humphries and for a first-round pick, but we also give them a 5 and a 4 along with it. And this is what the team looks like after the trades. O-line, obviously trash, but I was kind of looking to do that since they were all paid way too much. I'm going to change the schemes on this as well, because I think the schemes are a little bit bad. I always like Tampa 2. I'm not going to go 4-6. I know it fits the percentage. It just doesn't really work that well in Madden simulation. So I guess I'll just keep it like that. And overall, this team looks pretty good. I'm going to start Rashad Evans over John Brown, I believe that is. But apart from that, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we are 2-6, but this is tank season. I'm looking to get a quarterback in the draft, and we did get a lot of first-round picks. Derrick Henry is here. We're obviously going to want to bring him back, as he is the star of this video, and he needs more salary, wants the big monies, and Corey Davis is here as well. A little bit expensive, but we'll give him that contract. He is an overall solid receiver. Jayon Brown, not John Brown is what I meant to say, apparently. Cariani, I don't even want to try to pronounce that. He did not accept it, but I will be looking to re-sign that fullback. Jonnu Smith, I do want him back as well, very young. He accepts the deal, and Jonathan Joseph, I don't have an interest bringing back due to his age. And apart from that, everyone else don't really have an interest in. CPU signing random players, and I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a loss to the Houston Texans, as we did not make the playoffs, finishing 2-14, probably the worst team in the league. So I'm going to check that out real quick, as the Bills are apparently 14-2. That's interesting. And looking into it, we were the worst team. That's actually perfect, because we get the first pick in the draft. And you guys can kind of cheese the first pick in the draft if you guys know what to do. You can basically get any pick you want with the very first pick in the draft. Like, you can trade down and get almost anything. But looking into the stats, we have our QB here, who is like a 60 overall and did very good for a 60 overall. 30th best offense and defense. Cole McDonald, again, not amazing, but for his overall, great. Corey Davis, solid, and Derrick Henry, I forgot to mention, did not have a good season. Tackles, most for Jayon Brown. Tackles for loss, 12 for Jack Crawford. Sacks, 6 for Jeffrey Simmons. Interceptions, 2 for Jayon Brown. And safeties is 1 for Jeffrey Simmons. And defensive touchdowns is 0. So, apart from that and looking into the stats, it is time to get into the offseason. Here we are in the offseason coming off a win, I believe it is. Well, the Buccaneers are coming off a win, not we. The Buccaneers are coming off a win to the Colts in the Super Bowl, so the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl is what I meant to say. Derrick Henry, we obviously signed him. He's only an 86 overall. I don't know why, but he resigns. Jayon Brown is here. He does have superstar development, so we're going to want him back, as he also returns with Rashad Evans, I believe it is. So we have two great middle linebackers. I may move one of them to outside linebacker due to, I guess, just filling in our linebacking core, as Jayon Brown and Rashad Evans are both here. So, yeah, I think Rashad Evans is going to move to outside linebacker. But I'm just going to do that on camera right here, right now, because it doesn't really matter that much. Sure, I guess you guys can see it for fun and entertainment, even though this isn't really that big of entertainment. But defensively, we look a lot better even with that upgrade. But apart from that, I think it is time to get into free agency. Here we are after free agency, and the team kind of looks the same on offense. But, yeah, O-line still, again, trash. And receivers, again, trash. And apparently our tight end can play receiver. That's how much depth we lost at receiver. But defensively, nothing really much either, other than like some depth middle linebackers and Chardavius Ward. It wouldn't be a Madden rebuild without depth defensive backs and free agency. And apart from that, it is time to get into the draft. Here we are after the draft, as there was not really a big stack in quarterbacks, but we did end up getting a left tackle and a right tackle as well. Apparently a left guard that was a 55 overall, so that's pretty interesting. No, that wasn't a left guard. That was a tight end that I drafted. I drafted another tight end because it was best player available, and I like running like triple tight end sets, so don't worry about it, I guess, is all I have to really say about that. But defensively, we did pick up a defensive tackle and a right end as well. I'm going to start him, and we did pick up two defensive tackles. That one was in like the third round, though, so I'm going to start both of them. And I picked up a defensive back right here. We don't really need many of these positions, like tight end, defensive back. We didn't really need, but those are more like best player available situations. But I still got more picks for next year, and apart from that, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Indianapolis Colts, as we are second in the division and 4-3 behind the Houston Texans. We have players to resign, such as Adoree Jackson, who we do want back because I have never seen him in free agency really once at all, so I don't want to take a risk of him being signed by another team. Plus, he's also really fast and very young and talented. He wants more money. I think I'm going to give it to him. For right now, I don't think there's anyone I want to resign. Drew Brees is here. That's probably the reason why our success is so high right now. We apparently have a left guard as well, so that would be pretty cool, I guess. But apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we did not make the playoffs, finishing 8-8 below the Houston Texans, as the Colts win the division at 9-7. Looking into the stats, Drew Brees had a great season with the Titans, 17th best offense and the worst defense in the NFL, so that's pretty disappointing. Drew Brees, 14 picks, which is a lot. Derrick Henry had 13 touchdowns, which is a lot. Corey Davis and Malik Turner, both with 1,000 yards, which is great for them. Defensively, Jayon Brown with the most tackles, and the most tackles for a loss goes to 19 for Jeffrey Simmons. The most sacks, 12 for Garrison Roth, our new defensive tackle. Interceptions, 3 for Amani Hooker. Safeties is 1 for Jayon Brown, 1 for Jeffrey Simmons, so that's pretty cool. Defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, it is time to get into the offseason. And here we are in the offseason as the Browns are actually winning the Super Bowl 35-28 against the New York Giants. And Adoree Jackson is here. I'm going to boost up his money to see if he accepts, and he does, as he stays with the Tennessee Titans. And there's no one else here that I want to resign as looking into the team. it does look like that Drew Brees did retire. Sadly, I would have re-signed him actually. Tyler Jones, our tight end, apparently has superstar development, which is pretty cool. There's no really other development upgrades here. This QB won't ever develop, so yeah, we got to replace him. But our defensive back apparently has superstar development as well, so pretty good draft class with tip drill. And everything else here kind of looks the same to me, just star development on the D line. And apart from that, it would be time to get into free agency. And here we are after free agency as we ended up picking up Dak Prescott and Marshawn Lattimore, which is pretty insane. I moved Marshawn Lattimore to strong safety, but Dak Prescott is here. And I know all of y'all are like, oh, what about your Cowboys rebuild? You said Dak Prescott sucks. In Madden terms, he's a superstar. He's a superstar right now, as he has Bulldozer in Last Ditch. Bulldozer is very interesting for a quarterback. I don't think I would ever truck with a quarterback, especially Dak Prescott. And looking into the defense, Marshawn Lattimore is here with Superstar X Factor, and his ability is shut down with Secure Tackler and Man Up. So overall, pretty great abilities. And apart from that, can't really complain too much, and I think it'd be time to get into the draft. And here we are after the draft, as I did pick up a fourth receiver, even though we do have Chris Godwin from free agency. Best player available, he was like in the third round. He was projected like a mid third round, as we did also improve the O-line. So very upsides to it as well. It definitely was not an O-line stacked class, so can't complain too much about it. Two good defensive tackles. Again, more best defensive players. I had too many picks. And we got another defensive back. So apart from that, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Miami Dolphins. We are about to play the New England Patriots. And for some reason, my controller isn't working. Yeah, give it a minute. Just give it a little second. There it is. Okay. We are 3-4, and we are third in the division, below the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we have players to resign, such as Harold Landry III. And I have no interest in resigning him because I picked up a 79 overall outside linebacker in the draft. So it's just a lot cheaper to keep the rookie. And apart from that, there's no one else here that I want. So I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Los Angeles Rams. And we did not make the playoffs once again, as Adoree Jackson does have a superstar ability. He has tip drill and pick artist now. And looking into the record and the stats, my controller can work once again. Yes, it does. We were 8-8, below the 10-6 Indianapolis Colts. Dak Prescott 16th in both yards and touchdowns, 13th best offense, 5th best defense. So pretty good defense. Dak Prescott with a lot of picks with 14. But Derrick Henry, Chris Godwin had a good year, 9 yards off from 1,000 yards. Defensively, our defensive back with the most tackles and tackles for a loss goes to 11 for Jeffrey Simmons, sacks 6.5 for Jeffrey Simmons, and receptions 4 for Marshawn Lattimore, and safeties is 1 for Rashaan Evans, and defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the offseason. And here we are in the offseason as the Cincinnati Bengals win the Super Bowl 21-28 against the Saints. And everything else looks good to me right now. Harold Landry, yeah, again, I don't want to resign him. Just no interest for him. Looking into the team, this is what the team looks like before we get into free agency. Dak Prescott didn't get an upgrade. No one on the offense got an upgrade. The receiver only has star development, so not that big of a pickup. Though my defensive tackle does have superstar, so I'm going to make him a starter now. And the other one only has star, and my defensive back also has star. So I'm going to move up that left outside linebacker to starter, and it's time to get into free agency. And here we are after free agency, as there's nothing really much on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, not much either. So apart from that, it is time to get into the draft. And during the draft, we traded a second-round pick to the Eagles for Brandon Brooks, the right guard. Next, we have our third-string defensive tackle for the center. I think Rodney Houston from the Raiders. I don't know his first name, but it's Hudson, actually, not Houston. I feel stupid now. But anyways, what I meant to say is the O-line is better. Left side definitely improved. I can maybe improve the right side, but it's fine. This is the 4th and final season, so it is time to make it to the playoffs, but let's get into the midseason mark first. And here we are in the midseason mark, coming off a win to the Oakland Raiders, as we are 5-2, about to play the 5-1-1 Denver Broncos, and we are at the top of the division above the Jacksonville Jaguars. 4th and final season, don't need to re-sign any of these players. It's basically a tradition now. You guys should know this, but it's time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a loss to the Washington Redskins, as we have a first round bye, finishing 12-4. That's the final season that I want to see. Dak Prescott did solid, not bad though. Offensively, we were 15th. Defensively, we were the best in the NFL. Derrick Henry did not have a good season, not living up to the potential of this video. Yards definitely needs to go up. I don't think he went over 1,000 yards once this video, but Corey Davis and Chris Godwin both had good seasons. And defensively, Adoree Jackson with the most tackles on the team. Most tackles for a loss, 12 for Garrison Roth, and sacks, 11 for Sean Evans. Interceptions goes to 4 for Jaylen Brown, and he had the only interceptions of all of the team. Safeties, 0, and defensive touchdowns, 0. So apart from that, I think it would be time to simulate this wildcard round to see who we're going to be playing the divisional, and I will hop in the divisional round, because it only seems fitting considering we haven't made the playoffs, as we are facing the 9-6-1 Houston Texans, a division rival, which is perfect. And also, were they the second or third best? They were the third best, so we may be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC Championship. You may never know. But let's hop in to this divisional round game, shall we? And here we are in the second quarter, as it is 7-0, and now it is 9-0 against the Houston Texans. As we are entering the third quarter, is still 9-0. Now it is 17-0 against the Houston Texans, 17-3, and we are in the red zone once again, 24-3. We're in the red zone once again, 31-3, late fourth quarter, and that will be your ball game, 31-3. And now we're moving on to the AFC Championship. And here we are in the AFC Championship, about to face the 9-5-2 Baltimore Ravens. So let's get into it. And here we are in the second quarter. It is 3-7, now 3-14, now 14-6 against the Baltimore Ravens. And now it is third down alert. I'm going to keep simulating this 6-17, 14-17 as they are making a comeback. We are in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes left, 21-17. We are losing, and it is 24-21, and I'm going to hop in here. As we win in the AFC Championship round against the Baltimore Ravens, 31-28, and it is time to get into the Super Bowl. Now, everybody's probably like, why are you starting in the middle of the second quarter without even getting an intro or looking into the player developments before the Super Bowl? Well, there wasn't any, and that was kind of boring, so I didn't want to do it anyways. So I didn't do it. So we're coming back from a 16-0 lead, and we are now in the lead, 21-16, 21-19, and it is a very close game as we are driving down the field. No, they are driving down the field, and they score 26-21. And third down alert, I think I'm going to have to hop in here, and I will indeed. And the Tennessee Titans win their first Super Bowl ever, I believe it is, against the Dallas Cowboys, who used to have Dak Prescott. That's pretty funny, I guess, but I don't know who their quarterback is. Probably a CPU-generated player. But apart from that, I think it is time to look who the MVP is. Oh my God, the irony. Dak Prescott over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 69% completion rate. Nice. That's kind of funny, but yeah. And I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I know. Make sure you comment down below that you did. And I enjoyed this Titan rebuild, and I'm also doing a Lions rebuild soon. I think it is. No, Lions series rebuild, not just like a Lions rebuild. I know I said it was going to be the Titans before, but you guys voted the Lions over the Titans. But apart from that, I hope you guys enjoy your day.